everyone, and welcome once again to Arrow Discussions. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Eric.
And first of all, I want to apologize for how long it's been since we've done an Arrow Discussions. We had every intention of knocking one of these out last week, and our schedules didn't work out right. And then we were gonna do both of these episodes the other day, and that ended up falling through too. So finally, we're getting this done, and we're gonna have we'll be totally caught up before the season finale. So today we're gonna be talking about the last two episodes, The Undertaking and Darkness on the Edge of Town. And we're not gonna do what we did last time. We doubled up like this and discuss these separately, because these episodes...
These are basically the same episode.
In my mind, they kind of blend together, and they're almost a two-parter, although I imagine once you put the season finale in, it'll even feel like a three-parter, because there's so much build-up going on to the finale and all of that. So anyway, we're going to discuss this kind of like we're discussing one big episode, and if you've seen these, hopefully you'll kind of know, where they fall. Frankly, it's, like I said, it's blending together for me, so there'll be places where it'll be tough for us to tell, too. Eric, why don't you start us off? I know you and I have talked about this a little bit before we started, and I know you've got a lot of qualms with both of these. Where would you like to start? Just give us kind of a topic to jump off of, and then we'll just kind of roll
I'm going to start in the Undertaking's flashbacks to the families, because that's where there are two major complaints with these episodes, and the first one starts there.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, so... we get this in The Undertaking. The flashbacks are not to the island, but to Oliver and Tommy's father after, or as they're starting the planning process and putting together this organization, and everything. And nothing makes any sense. Because apparently the list has nothing to do with The Undertaking. And Ollie's father says something about, like, yeah, I've been working on the list, but it's not enough. About Malcolm wants to go bigger. I'm like, so what is the list? Because we're led to kind of believe that the problem in the entire city, the problem is the slums. What are the slums called? It's not suicide slums. It's the Glades, right?
It's the Glades. The Glades, yeah.
Which is really weird for a non-coastal town.
Yeah, true.
but the
yeah, it's like the dockyards in Gotham or something.
The landlocked dockyards in Gotham.
Yeah, No, I just mean in that it's that rough area, like the old side of town or something.
Or Suicide Slum in Metropolis.
Or whatever they call it in Nolan's universe. I forget now. It's like the
Narrows.
The Narrows. Thank you. Yes, the Glades are the Narrows. That's it. Oh, come to think of it, maybe they ripped that off too.
Yeah, we've got a couple of those here. Because
we do have
turns out the big master plot is basically Batman Begins.
Yeah, it is. Although, to be fair, every city's got its bad place. Like, I don't want to say that they totally ripped that off.
I'm talking about the earthquake machine.
Yes, the earthquake machine. Yeah, we'll talk. Yeah, we'll get there.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
So Malcolm shows up and says, "I've got this earthquake machine that's going to be ready in 5 years." And thank God that this it doesn't work like real science. And they never hit a snag. Like, they said, we'll have this done in 5 years, and it was done in 5 years. To the day. But you really get the impression that it's just Malcolm? Like, everyone else is like, I don't know how I feel about this. And I don't understand how this got off the ground at all. They're like, well, we can't go toe-to-toe with Malcolm. I'm like, okay, maybe you can't, but nobody seems to be excited for this plan. Surely all of you can go toe-to-toe with Malcolm.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right about that. That took me out quite a bit. If it was only like Oliver's parents that had a problem with it, that would work a little better. Although we'll talk about that too. I don't really like the fact that his parents turn out to be kind of totally
altruistic,
benevolent, except that he screwed up one time and accidentally somebody died. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like there was some backtracking going on there. We can talk about that here in a second. But the fact that the fact that Malcolm is a crazy person and everybody's like, man, or at least that's how they feel about it. It's like, wow, Malcolm's a crazy person. He wants to just destroy this whole area of town. We can't do that. Okay, I don't get the sense, Eric, that Malcolm is any more powerful than Oliver's
anyone else
dad.
In that room? Yeah, no.
Is he?
I don't think so.
I just feel like They could have stopped him pretty easily, it seems like. I mean, I don't know why they can't all just put their resources together and be like, no, we're going to block this.
Well, and what's really weird is it felt like this organization was, like, made up of all of the... Like, I always was under the impression that the people on the list were part of the organization, and that we as an audience were just being given Malcolm as, like, a figurehead. But it seems like it's just Malcolm, and it also seems like it's, like, 3 people. Or maybe, I guess 4. It's
like 4 or 5 people.
Yeah, I was under the impression this was like a large-scale, like, operation.
Yeah, and then who exactly are the people on the list? It's like, why does Oliver's dad have this list of, like, every bad person in town? And it has nothing to do with the Undertaking.
Malcolm throws down the list and goes, this isn't good enough. I'm like, what is it? Like, that list has nothing to do with the Glades. Most of the people that... Everyone Ollie's taken down based on that list are rich people. They're not in the Glades.
Well,
unless in 5 years all of those people became rich.
Yeah, is the idea that they're all, like, ruining the Glades? Like these evil rich people are doing something to the Glades and that they're making it expand, and it's like the slums are taking over the city and it's because of those people and that's why. But then that would seem like a big conspiracy. None of those people seem to have anything to do with each other, most of them.
And Ollie's dad, if he was this, like, strongly against Malcolm, I would write his name on that list and circle and underline it, like, 3 times. Like, absolutely. On the first page.
I don't get it. Except that Malcolm has seen the list, but, I mean, like, why can't he just add it to that? I'm confused about that whole plot. What it feels like to me, Eric, is like they wrote themselves into a corner and they don't know how to get out of it. It's like they had 2 concepts, and they're trying to blend them, but it's not blending. It's not meshing at all.
And Lau really annoyed me, because we see that Lau's on Ollie's dad's side, and you know he's one of the ones who's against Malcolm's plan. They're talking about, like, you know, can we stop him? Can we bring him down? And I'm like, okay, fine. That makes sense because Moira went to him later. That makes perfect sense. And then we find out that Lau's the one that put the bomb on the boat. He's standing right there next to Malcolm, and Malcolm's like, is the bomb in place? He goes, yeah. So, is Lau just opportunistic? Like, it seemed really weird to set him up to be kind of who we met him as, and then completely turn around and go, well, he put the bomb on the boat. That felt really weird.
I totally agree with you. The thing that bothered me the most is that I feel like the whole idea of Oliver's father, of Oliver has to right his father's wrongs, is completely undermined because his father doesn't have.
He has no wrongs. like if he'd said, like, look, I accidentally killed this guy. If you make it back, can you, like, give his family money? Or, like, if it had anything to do with that, fine. It didn't. He kills himself and says, right my wrongs, not in that order. What wrongs? He seems to be, like, the most altruistic person we've seen in the show.
Yeah, except he screwed up one time, and it was a complete understandable accident. I forget exactly what happened. Do you remember?
I think he fired somebody and got out of control, and he accidentally, like, beat him to death.
Yeah, that's what it was. He was like, oh, and he fell. And then everything I've done since then has been, you know, trying to redeem myself from that. It's spiraled out of control. That's not who I thought he was at all.
No, and the major problem is, okay, right my wrongs, and he gives him this list. Why wouldn't he tell him about the Undertaking then? That seems to be the big thing he didn't get to stop himself. Like, that seems really...
Are you afraid that there's someone in a helicopter listening in above this little boat?
Maybe that guy you just shot isn't dead?
Yeah, because, I mean, like, why is he so cryptic? Their boat has gone down, and they're in, like, a little life raft.
Yeah. Yeah,
that doesn't work. The thing is, I was really on board with this whole idea from the very beginning of Oliver's dad was like an awful person who was kind of helping to ruin the city,
and in the face of his
wife
death.
and maybe his wife was really against that, but she was too far into it, so she's having a difficult time getting away from it and fighting Malcolm, and that's why she's so yin-yangy back and forth. I'm evil. No, I'm not really evil through the season. And he went on that boat trip, and something that maybe we don't even know about yet has given him a giant major change of heart where he's realized, I've taken this too far, and my son has an opportunity to solve this for me. And he commits suicide because of his guilt. Now, we do still get the idea that he commits suicide over his guilt for accidentally beating a man to death, but I think that's maybe not flimsy, but it's just weak.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
I'm sorry, but I'm very disappointed in what this backstory has turned out to be.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you.
I think there's still some excellent writing in these 2 episodes. I want to stop for a minute because we've already gone for 10 minutes about all this background we really don't like. Let me balance this a little bit by saying that these were not impossible to watch. We haven't totally reversed back to first season writing. I mean, for beginning of of the season's writing. There's some great dialogue. There's some really fun character moments. I still love everybody I love. But, well, we'll talk about the Laurel thing because I got some issues there. But I'm just saying that, like, it's not suddenly a different show. It's that they had to go back to what they set up at the beginning, and they don't know what to do with it. Their show, it's almost like their show has gotten away from them. Where, like, oh crap, this got better than we know how to write it. It's a weird problem to have.
Yeah, it feels like the plot got too big for what they've set up to hold it. I guess the thing is, outside the Laurel thing, which we'll get to, which is my other big problem with these episodes, it's not that the character writing has really gone downhill. The characters are still written well. There is a fantastic scene when Malcolm explains himself where he talks about listening to his wife die over and over again on his voice message. It's a really good scene. There's some really good scenes with Tommy.
That guy is a strong actor.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of good character stuff, and as much as I don't like how certain things happen with Diggle, he's still really good. We get what's the stepdad's name? It's been so long since we've seen him. Walter. We get Walter back, and he has nothing to do, and it's not really, again, plot-wise, it's not very good, but he's still written well.
He's a good actor.
Yeah. So it's most of my issues outside of the Laurel thing is plot. It's all plot stuff, and it's not just the flashback, like how things are set up. I feel like at this point the plot is rushing to get to the end because they didn't. It almost feels like they thought they were mid-season and just realized, oh man, we only have 3 episodes left.
There's a little bit of that going on, yeah, and I wonder if they haven't maybe... I hate to say this because I like how dense some of these episodes have been with material, but I wonder if maybe they haven't introduced too many characters and too many plot threads at once. I wonder if maybe when you're dealing with all this Undertaking stuff, if maybe this wasn't the right time to introduce Roy Harper. I mean, you've got to give Thea something to do, or you can just put her in the background for a while and then give her something to do next season. But, I mean, like, things like that are eating up screen time that could have been used to better flesh out this Undertaking thing, which I feel like is very rushed here at the end.
Yeah, it's... Like, I kind of forgot Malcolm existed, and I feel like the writers did too. Like, someone was like,
I didn't have that problem.
I mean, I'm not saying, like, when he showed up, I was like, who's this guy?
No,
but,
I know.
Like, I kind of like it wasn't. I mean, I guess they do bring it up, you know, throughout.
Well,
the
I
episode,
felt like
you know.
I don't know if I agree with that, Eric. I feel like he's still present enough because Tommy is going to work for him, and so there's a little bit of this
sorry, not Malcolm, Walter. Sorry.
Oh, Walter. Okay, no, you said Malcolm, and I was like, really, Malcolm? No, yeah, no, you're right. I can totally see why you would have sort of forgotten about Walter, because he's written out for, well, he's gone for 6 months, and that is the strangest way I've ever seen a character getting written out of a show. Not to say that he won't necessarily come back for some reason, but it did sort of feel like they were trying to write him out of the show, and I'm just like, well, you had him kidnapped for 6 months. Why not come up with some way to kill him off? Not like he's gone half the season, he comes back, and then they divorce, and then he's gone. Like, that's a weird way to write somebody out.
When Ollie talks to that guy, he says he's dead, and then Ollie goes to his family and says, "Hey, look, you know, Diggle's FBI agent, which, by the way, never comes back. Nobody ever comes back to Oliver is like, yeah, what did those FBI agents find? But like that felt like the way to write him out of the show, and then they brought him back just to get rid of him again. Like that felt weird. And obviously that scene, he says that to his mom, and he's not suspicious of his mom really anymore. And then the immediate next scene is him outside of Malcolm's office with a listening device, and his mom goes and talks to Malcolm. Why was he there? He doesn't think Malcolm's dead. He doesn't think Malcolm's implicated either. That's
a great point. Yeah, you know what? I watched right over that. You're right, because like all of a sudden now he can't get past the fact that clearly his mother is involved with all this. But why was he there in the first place? I didn't think of that.
And what's really weird about
I don't know.
What's really weird about his turnaround is the first thing she says when she walks in is, "We had a deal. I would do what you wanted me to do, and I got my husband back unharmed." That does not sound like someone who's been, colluding with these people. It sounds like someone under duress.
Oh,
and he acts like it's like she just said, "Ha ha ha! Now we've got him."
Well, yeah, and then and then of course the last time there was evidence that she was involved, some of the stuff that he heard, I think, was a little more incriminating than that.
Yeah, this is far less incriminating than what...
So
now he knows for sure she's involved.
It's happening too fast and too easy. It's like they've got to get back to that. Now, I will say, I did really enjoy Diggle dressed up as Arrow. Or dressed up
that was
as the
great,
Archer.
and they kind of had me. Because for a second, I thought it was Malcolm. Because you kind of
I thought that for a moment too. The way they shot it, you couldn't really see the color of the costume.
Yeah, I really like that scene. But then he goes and he gets Walter, and there's this weird, because they go out of their way to say there's somebody on the roof. Like there's only one guard on the roof. There's guards all around the building, but there's only one guard on the roof. And she goes, and there's nothing else around you unless you can make something that you can jump off of. And he goes, "Oh, I've got something," and it immediately cuts to him parasailing down. And what did he jump off of? Because I think you're supposed to assume it's a plane, but a plane opens a lot of questions. Whose plane was it? Was it his plane, or did he rent a plane? Who was flying it? Doesn't the pilot now know that he's the Archer? At this point he's not friends with Diggle, so it's not Diggle flying the plane.
And we know Felicity probably can't fly an airplane.
I don't know. She can do anything that they need her to do.
That's true.
So.
She is capable of anything. But even Lucius Fox wasn't flying the plane in Dark Knight.
I'm also getting a little bit tired of, this is a really minor gripe, I'm getting tired of every single computer having to show me that they're running Windows 7.
Windows 8. You know what? I thought that too this time, and I don't usually get annoyed by that sort of thing, but it's like every time somebody uses a computer, it's on the start screen where they've got to pick a program. They're never already in a program. It's like because they've got to show you they're using 8. I'm with you.
A number of episodes ago, I saw it with Felicity, and I was just like, nobody that actually uses computers like that would ever use Windows 8. But now I feel like every single time somebody touches a computer, there's Windows 8. And I don't think it would bother me as much if it wasn't such a bad system. Like the fact that it's notoriously bad. Like it's product placement, but I refuse to believe that any of these people use it.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Well, what else should we jump to? Felicity was really fun in these.
Yeah, Felicity was really fun. Both episodes. I really liked her gambling, although I have a minor gripe about the gambling thing. And she was really fun as the belly buster burger
I have
drop-off
heard
chick.
belly buster somewhere before. I forget where. It's like a cartoon show or something I've seen before that mentioned that.
Yeah, that sounds familiar
funny.
now that you're saying it.
Yeah, so it was superhero also. I don't think it was DC, but I was just like, really? Belly buster? I've heard this. But anyway, no, I thought she was a lot of fun, and she's doing all this incognito stuff that's really, they're giving her a lot to do right now, and I like that she's not just holed up in the arrow cave all the time.
One of the belly busters is a real restaurant.
Is it?
Yep.
It's weird because they acted like it was a really generic sort of thing.
Yeah, that's weird. I'm seeing a bunch of listings. Anyways, but with the gambling thing, she goes into the gambling den, which is this illegal underground gambling den. And
this bugged me too. I had the same thing.
And the guy's like, "You've been counting cards. Get out." I was like, "That's what you do in like a regular casino, not in an illegal underground gambling ring. Like you like cut people's fingers off. Like you don't just like, I know you're cheating. Just get out of here. Don't do it again."
I guess I'm not. Are we positive it was illegal or just hidden?
Maybe it wasn't illegal. It's underground. You have to know a password to get in. I assumed it was
That doesn't
criminals.
necessarily mean it's illegal, though, does it?
No. I kind of assumed it was criminals, but I might be wrong.
I sort of did too, but I'm just saying, just to play devil's advocate for a minute, we could be wrong about that. I don't know, but you're right. That was a little strange.
And then when she goes in as the Belly Busters employee, we've got one of these. There's a guard coming her way. Ollie gets in Ollie kind of gets pulled in the elevator with Malcolm, and Diggle's like, you have to get there now. You have to protect her, like that kind of a thing. It cuts to commercial, which was a really good teaser. And then when we come back from commercial, Diggle just goes and pretends to be a security guard. Which, by the way, okay, here's something. How is Diggle a security guard? Because the dude's not like talking to him like he's a new employee.
I don't know. I had the same thing. I was like, he's acting like they know each other, and like, where did he get the right uniform? And they don't show us any of that. He's just there.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
It was a fun scene.
There's like a month in between those two scenes where like he got the job, he got.
Yeah, the thing is, these days, so many people DVR or watch stuff online that you can't hide plot stuff with a commercial.
Yeah, no, not at all.
You can't hide it anymore. You can't go black screen, come back, now he's a security guard. You can't do that.
Yeah.
But whatever, they did it. It's not a big thing. I buy that you can figure out some way to do it.
These are minor gripes.
These are very minor gripes. What other major sorts of things should we kind of get into? Let's just jump right into the relationships, shall we? Go ahead.
Okay, so it actually kind of starts with the flashbacks because we see Ollie and Laurel as a couple, and I immediately was like, oh, I don't really like how she's playing her younger self. She's a little bit too stereotypical, like high school girly. Like a little bit too, like, love in her eyes, like, there's just something off where I'm like, I feel like she's stronger than this. And then we come back to, like, the real world, and she goes to Oliver and she says, tell Tommy, because she talks to Tommy and Tommy says, you still have feelings for Ollie, and Ollie still has feelings for you, and she's like, look, just tell him you don't have feelings for me, so I can get back with him because I love him. And Ollie's like, I can't do that because I do have feelings for you. She immediately starts to almost cry, then completely becomes like a schoolgirl. Like she acts like she becomes a completely different character at that point. It was so jarring, and I lost so much respect for the character. Because she seemed like a strong, independent woman. Tommy really had to work hard to get with her, and they had a good thing going. And the second she finds out Ollie might kind of still have a thing for her, she completely switches, and it's not believable at all. And it feels like what I was worried the show was going to be when I started watching it.
Yeah, I thought it turned into a traditional, stereotypical CW show real hard there. And everybody keep in mind how incredibly hard she made Tommy work to get with her.
Yeah, and
the thing is, they made me like that. The series did an extremely good job of taking its time with that relationship and making me really like them together. And this is where I take a lot of issue with the way they handle her there. Basically, what we've got is the guy that she was naively with, Oliver, before he went to the island. And I get that she thinks he's changed and all that, but that still doesn't change the history. The guy that she was head over heels with, doughy-eyed like that, when she was more naive 5 years ago. Goes off on a boat, absconds with her sister, and then when he comes back, she hates him because she kind of blames her for her sister's death. All of that's going to be your rebound guy?
Yeah, well, especially when... See, what bothered me the most is that when she finds out, she's coming to him because she loves Tommy and wants to make things right with Tommy. And
Clearly.
then the second he says he has feelings for her, Tommy isn't even
trading
mentioned.
up. Yeah, the thing is, she thinks that last episode, or before these two episodes, she thought that Tommy was being incredibly irrational. Like, there's something she doesn't know, and there is something she doesn't know. He did it because Oliver's the Archer, and thinks that if she found out he was the Archer, that they would immediately be together, which I don't totally understand that logic, but okay. That's what he thinks. And I like you said before, I guess it somewhat makes sense because she's now got a lot of history with the Archer. She's been saved by him and stuff. So, regardless of all that, she has every reason to wonder, why is he suddenly breaking up with me for no good reason? It's like, I really feel for her deciding not to just give up on him and move on, because there's something she doesn't understand that why he's doing this, and he clearly cares a lot more about her than that. I'm not gonna let that go. Oh, but Oliver actually maybe wants me now. Now I've forgotten all about that. I don't see how I could possibly sympathize with that attitude.
And they do the single most cliched, like, awful generic scene where they start to have sex and then Tommy's outside the window. And what annoys me double about that scene is that Tommy plays it so well.
He has some of his absolute best performance of the whole season in these two episodes, or at least in that second episode. And
yeah,
like, the material's not that good, but he's amazing.
Yeah, he's so good. Also, Quentin gets his worst scene of the series to date.
Oh, okay, all right.
When Laurel comes to him and asks about how he feels about Oliver. And for no explicable reason, he like winks and is like gives her the okay.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like that he says, well, he's changed, because he has seen that over the season, and I sort of like the idea. I don't know if this is working. Within the, I don't know if they're making this actually work, but I like the idea that there's this parallel with him where at the same time as he's starting to appreciate the Archer more, even though he doesn't want to, he's also starting to appreciate Oliver more. That's a good idea. I don't know if the execution is there.
I don't think the execution is there. And the I guess the, well, do you want to talk about how weirdly resolved the Diggle thing is?
Yeah, we can talk about it. It's not a big deal to me,
issue.
But yeah,
it wouldn't have bothered me as much if I liked the rest of the episode. It's just really weirdly dealt with. Like, I don't know. It didn't work for me. It wasn't awful.
I kind of enjoy. I'm of two minds about it, because a part of me sort of enjoys the if it wasn't over something so important, I would kind of enjoy the schoolboy attitude of, well, he just needs to apologize to me, and then it'll be okay. Like, that's kind of funny.
And we got Felicity and him together, and I'm seeing nothing but chemistry. Those two need to get together.
Every time they're on screen together, I really wonder why. Well, I don't wonder why she's so into Oliver. The show makes me like Oliver enough that I get why she would also like him. It's just that I want to see her get with Diggle. That's just a personal thing. I think that they have incredibly good chemistry together. And I also always want to see Diggle happy with a girl he likes, because he is extremely chivalrous and great with women.
Yeah. Although I must say, I think this might be the first time in the entire show I've seen him without sleeves, and his forearms are like twice the size of her head. That dude is jacked, and I never realized
enormous. It. I gotta say, I did kind of wonder. I lost my train of thought. I'm thinking it was something weird with that Diggle scene, and I'm trying to remember what exactly. Oh, I know what it was. We talked about this on the phone yesterday. Is he not still with that other girl that
I don't
his brother's
remember.
widow? I just don't remember. Somebody leave a comment. I feel like I've just forgotten something, or maybe
I remember they went on a date, and it was like paralleled with Oliver's date, and they both went bad, but they both got with the girl, and then Oliver stopped being with his girl. I don't remember what happened to Diggles.
And also, I should mention that thing with McKenna also. Let me backtrack for a moment, because that was another reason that I was really not okay with how quickly they're trying to get Oliver and Laurel together all of a sudden.
Yes. I
really think that's a bit, by the way, that they should have saved for next season, and I don't like that it's a love triangle, because the show was handling the love triangle so well earlier. I thought this was one of the more adult kind of love triangles I'd seen in a while, because Oliver was constantly saying, no, you two are great together, it doesn't matter what I feel, I like seeing you guys happy, and I believed it, and it was true. And that I don't want that to be so much of the reason that he's going more down the dark road. I don't like that, but also Oliver just ended a great relationship with McKenna, and they had to drop it because she moved over an injury that she sustained that was, if I'm remembering correctly, partially his fault.
Yeah, because of Huntress.
Yeah, and I just don't like that he's getting together with Laurel so quickly, because, again, and it's even worse than the Tommy thing with Laurel, because he should feel worse about that, and it should at least be coming up in conversation. I feel like they've kind of forgotten about that.
Yeah. Well, and we said that when it happened. You were like, this feels like they're just getting out of the show, and then she's never mentioned again. I actually think that was the last time we did a two-parter. She left, and in the next episode they didn't mention her.
Like,
and they haven't mentioned her since.
Was all that just filler? Like, people want to see our protagonist dating a girl, so we've got to have this in here. You've got a very archy show, and it's trying to be a more cohesive narrative throughout the season. So we've got to remember all that. That's important.
Yeah. And then I guess we should talk about the Thea stuff, because they're giving her character. I feel like they're giving her stuff that she isn't capable of acting. There was a couple of scenes where I felt like, I'm like, oh, you have no idea how to play this scene. Particularly when she's telling him, she's really good at angry and bitter. But then when she's telling Roy, like, well, let's do this to go find the Archer, she's playing it really weird. Like, I felt like whatever emotion she was supposed to be conveying was outside of her ability, and so we got this really weird, like let's go skinny dipping pitch for let's go stand around the building and see if the Archer shows up.
I didn't have that, but I guess I just have to watch it again. I didn't pick up on that at all.
Well, you agreed with me when we talked 2 days ago, so I'm just gonna...
No, I didn't say anything about that when you mentioned that.
You said...
I agree with you. No, I agree with you that she's got some acting issues, but honestly, what bugged me more, when we were talking about that was how
character-wise,
quickly, it was just character-wise. Yeah, I'm not sure the performance is bugging me that much, but I'm not buying that she is so quick to be anti-let's go find the Archer, because she seemed, and again, this might be a performance thing, I don't know. You might be right in the sense that she was playing it one way and now she's just so the other direction, more so even than the script is. But this business of, well, we can't go find the Archer now because it's too dangerous and you're too obsessed with it and it's bothering me.
Because my brother said so.
Yeah, I don't buy that, but also that is the thing he's trying to do to get out of this slum life.
Well, and the
line I thought that's why you wanted it. Like, I don't know.
And the line really bugged me where she's like, where he says, he says, what does your brother know about the Archer? And she's like, he was saved by him, so he knows a lot. I'm like, you're speaking to someone who was saved by him. Theoretically, he probably knows about as much about the Archer as your brother does. There's no reason to think anything else. that whole thing really feels like they are killing time until season 2.
And well, manufactured drama.
Yeah, that too. And because I don't care about them as a couple, I don't care. And I guess the only thing we haven't really talked about is the island stuff in the second episode.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, because there's not any in the Undertaking, because they give us the flashbacks for the Undertaking, which is okay. It was a little bit jarring because we haven't had other flashbacks besides the island that I'm aware of or that I can think of right now.
yeah, I thought it worked fine enough. I mean,
I don't have a problem with it. It's just for a minute
Yeah.
I was sort of like, oh wow, this is interesting. I guess we've never. I'm just making an observation. I was like, oh, I don't think we've ever really had a flashback that wasn't on the island, unless there's something I'm not thinking of.
yeah, no, I completely agree with you. It was, I didn't think it was that weird, but there was that momentary like, well, and there was a second where I was like, okay, maybe this whole episode is going to be a flashback, and then it cuts back. I was like, oh no, wait, there is a plot to this episode.
Yeah.
But
Anyway, the island stuff. Go ahead.
okay, so we now know what Fire's plan is.
He's going to crash an airplane.
He's going to crash a bunch of airplanes. Any airplane that tries to get to China. There's a problem here. Well, there's two. There's the logic problem of you keep shooting airplanes down, they're going to figure out where those airplanes are going down. They're going to find you. But the other
That's
problem, that's whatever. The other problem is this plan is so much more interesting than the earthquake machine.
Yeah. Oh, I knew you were going to say that. You're right. I'm caring more about the flashback stuff right now than the main present day narrative.
They killed Yao Fei, which I didn't see coming, and I thought was really, really cool. Because
they paid off the guy that was pretending to have gotten beat up.
Yep, and they set up who he's working for. We don't know who it is, but it's a girl who wears, or it's a woman who wears red high heels, and I'm assuming she's a comic book character.
I'm really intrigued by that because the way they introduced her, where they're just showing us shoes, I was like, this has got to be some comic book character that fans are going to recognize. And if it's not, it's going to be some other kind of interesting payoff. But I'm getting reeled in by it. I'm sort of like, ooh, who is that? I want to know. You know, that's cool.
I'm more interested by the plot stuff on the island than I am on the show, and I'm only getting 10 minutes of the island an episode, if that.
Yeah, and I think it's really telling that one of the best episodes of the season was all island.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And I don't have much hope for the last episode because it's written by the creators of the show.
And it's got to wrap up all this stuff that you and I aren't really buying has been very organically handled. I feel bad. I feel like I'm ripping really hard into these. And
what I feel like is, because it hasn't completely turned me around the show, what I feel like
No, me neither. Not at all. Not at all. There was some great stuff in these two, certainly, but
one, they didn't know that they didn't even know if they were going to make it past half a season.
Yeah.
So they set up stuff that they didn't know how to pay off. And then when it got successful and when they kept going, they kept setting more stuff up and kind of building stuff, and they didn't really know how to end all of it. And I'm hoping with a season under their belt and knowing that they're getting a full second season, the next season will be structured better.
I think it's very likely to be. I hope that we get kind of a nice fresh start. Oh, you know what else? Speaking of that, there's something else we didn't talk about that I know you probably wanted to bring up, and that's the whole. Because we mentioned earlier that we were going to talk a little bit about some more Nolan stuff. We thought they kind of stole.
Oh yes.
But also the whole business of Oliver thinking that he can give up being the Archer.
Yeah.
Once he's stopped the thing with the Glades, because stopping the thing with the Glades again, unless I'm missing something, I feel like maybe I'm just not getting what they're talking about. Because if he stops the thing with the Glades, that's just stopping a madman from solving the problem. From solving the problem you already want to solve in a terrible supervillain way, which is he thinks he can stop all the corruption in the city by blowing up the Glades. Okay, but even if you stop him from doing that, you're back to square one now. There's still all that corruption. You've still got everybody on the list.
Nothing is different from before you found out the Undertaking exists.
Why do you get to give up the arrows after that? Because you didn't know about the Undertaking. You're doing this initially because of the list. I'm confused.
Yeah, and he says that thing where he's like, "This must be what my father really wanted me to go after." Why? Why do you think that?
And so it feels like they're playing up kind of a Rachel thing from the Nolan films.
Oh, they're
where, like,
absolutely playing
if
with
he
that.
he's so like I'm supposed to be more okay with him going after Laurel now, even after all the Tommy and McKenna stuff, because that's what he always really wanted in the first place. And if he isn't the Archer, he can do all that or something.
I'm gonna bet you.
Maybe.
I'm gonna bet you. 5 metric tons of money. That that at the end of the next episode, he realizes he has to still be the Archer, and he leaves her, and it's supposed to be really dramatic.
Yeah, that would be the obvious, predictable thing to do. That would be the Smallville thing to do.
It's either that or he hangs up, the bow, and season 2 starts with something big happening that draws him back in. Those are kind of the only 2 ways I see them going here.
You said draw and bow in the same sentence. I kind of like that. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't like that because I don't understand the logic. I'm really confused.
You know what it almost feels like? It feels like this is the ending they planned when they didn't know if they were getting a season 2.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
But yeah,
but they've got a season
Nolan.
2, and it has to keep going.
The Earthquake Machine is very similar to Ra's al Ghul's plan, and the rumors for Rises early on was that Bane had an Earthquake Machine.
So yeah, it's really weird that they went with an Earthquake Machine.
We get the line "Why so serious," which wouldn't bother me it wouldn't bother me normally, but because there's been so much Nolan references, I was like, that's too far. Just don't use that line. You've already tipped your hat to Nolan so much and just kind of blatantly kind of borrowed Nolan ideas. That line, I was like, I really wish that they hadn't done that.
I totally agree with you because I wouldn't like I'm not even 100% sure they did it on purpose. I'm pretty sure that they didn't do that intentionally. But they borrowed so much from the Nolan stuff that it's hard not to notice it.
Yeah. I feel like there was something else, Nolan, that we talked about that I'm forgetting.
Yeah, it's not coming to me right now. Well, the only other thing, and this is neither here nor there, this isn't even really a Nolan thing, but just that we kind of kicked around who the girl in the high heels could possibly have been.
Oh, yeah.
And we talked about how maybe it's Lady Shiva. And maybe she's running something similar to the League of Shadows or something.
She could be running just full-blown League of Assassins. They could just call it that and be like, no, it's not the same.
It's not the same as the League of Assassins, yeah. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I can't say they've actually borrowed that yet. But yeah, that was just some conjecture.
Yeah, it's... And I really felt like Malcolm was one line away from saying, if someone stands between... you and Justice, you simply walk up behind them and stab them in the back.
He's definitely got that philosophy.
Yeah, it's kind of disappointing because I didn't feel like he was that before this. As much as I like the scene where he talks about his wife, oh man, that's even more so. It's his wife. His wife is his driving factor.
Oh, yeah, you're right. And that's the same thing as Ra's al Ghul, yeah. Yeah, it's almost as if... And I don't know if this is true. I mean, I don't want to make any blanket, assumptions, not knowing what they were thinking. But it's almost as if they had these guys, they had all these people that were involved in all this bad stuff, and they were like, okay, we want this person to be the leader of the bad guys, and we want we want Oliver's mother to be kind of involved, but she doesn't really want to be. But like, we'll come up with their motivations and their philosophies and their ideologies toward the end of the season. It's almost like none of that was thought out before we got to this point.
What I think is interesting is, as the show's gone on, it's felt more like they knew what they were doing off the island, and the island was the stuff that they were making up on the fly, and that stuff seems to hold together better.
It's really strange.
Well,
I gotta tell you, man. At the very least, I can't tell you what this last episode of the season is gonna be like.
No, I'm really worried for it because it's written by the writers.
Unpredictable
really
in a strange way.
I'm really hoping that what we're seeing in these last 3 episodes, well, not having seen the last episode yet, but I'm gonna assume I'm not gonna like it. I'm really hoping that this is the last of their growing pains. That this is them working stuff out that they didn't know how to do.
Yeah, I hope so too. And no matter what this last episode is, the season on the whole has been enjoyable enough, and has had some actually really remarkable episodes. You know, I'm not gonna not want to come back.
Yeah, no, I'm coming back for season 2.
But yeah, I am really a little disappointed with some of this background.
Yeah. I really felt like they just set stuff up and they didn't know what to do with it, and they just kind of threw everything together and hoped it made sense, and it didn't.
It's just not, yeah. I mean, unless they do something that fixes some things in the finale, we certainly, to be fair, we certainly have to add some places where we've been like, this doesn't make sense, and then they fixed it, you know, in a later episode. We're like, oh, that's
this
where
thing with the
okay.
list and the Undertaking feels like a giant, just, I don't want to say plot hole, but at least a thematic hole. Like,
well,
I don't understand.
I really want to give this the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
I really want to.
I really hope everything makes sense and comes together next episode. I really do.
I would be so impressed if it did somehow, because I don't see how it could.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely really want that.
If nothing else, there's no way that the Laurel relationship makes sense. Even if they figure out the plot stuff.
You think so?
Yeah, no way does.
Well, no, I'm with you. Well, it's rubbing me the wrong way.
I know.
But anyway, well, everybody, we will see you next week for the finale.
Do you want to talk about what we're doing?
I'm going to. I just wanted to mention that
I'm sorry.
This real quick. Yeah. But yeah. So next week we've got one more of these, of course, and we will do one more episode of Arrow Discussions after that for the season, and of course we will be back in the fall for season 2. We'll keep doing the show along with the series. Eric and I have been having so much fun doing these podcasts that we plan to continue podcasts throughout at least a lot of the summer, and we're gonna do weekly podcasts as often as we can, as much as possible. And we have kicked around a couple ideas, and what we settled on is a podcast where we will be watching movies each week that neither of us has ever seen before. They may be older movies, they might be newer movies, but each one will be something that Eric and I have never seen before, and it will be something that is streaming on Netflix. And the series, we're calling it, this is Eric's idea, and I think it's great, we're going to call it Netflix Roulette. And so each week we're going to pick something. Each of us are going to go back and forth. Eric will pick one, then I'll pick one. And if you have a Netflix account, or you happen to have whatever film that we're going to be doing, you can watch it before we do the show. And each week on Comment of the Week, I will announce what the movie is that we're going to be doing for the next week, so that people can watch it to listen to our podcast. It'll be another full blown spoiler thing. And we're going to be asking for ideas for what to do. Eric and I are each going to pick things, whatever. The only requirement is that it has to be a film, a regular length movie. Regular length meaning not a TV series, not a mini series. Has to be on Netflix, so that everybody with a Netflix account can watch it. And sorry for folks that don't happen to have Netflix. We just thought that this would be a way for a lot of people to get to watch the stuff that we're doing, and so that Eric and I could pick stuff that we both had access to. And it has to be something that Eric and I have never seen before. Now, of course, you won't know what we've seen before, but we thought that if you guys give us suggestions then of stuff is on Netflix, it'll give us a broader idea of things that we can pick, because there's tons of stuff on Netflix, and you don't always know what's there. So we obviously are not going to guarantee any requests, especially if people give us stuff that we've just happened to have seen before. Yeah. But we would really appreciate your input, and we will ask for your input each time we do one of these. So, Eric, I'm stoked for that. I think it's going to be really fun.
I am too. It actually makes me kind of wish, because there's so much on Netflix, I kind of wish Netflix had like a random button.
That'd be cool.
But yeah, no, I'm super excited. It's gonna be fun.
It's going to give us a chance to kind of stretch our legs a little bit and try out things that we maybe would never have tried before. And again, like movies of any era, of any genre, we're going to want to try to do some geeky stuff, certainly some sci-fi stuff, and maybe some comedy and fantasy and different sorts of things, but also just straight up mainstream dramas and things are great too. Eric, I'd love to do just some like older films I've never seen.
There's one, I don't know if it's still on Netflix, but there's one I've been meaning to see called Salt and Pepper, which I haven't seen, so maybe we'll end up doing that at some point.
What is that? How old is that?
It's, I want to say 50s or 60s. Apparently, it's like a noir screwball comedy.
That's cool.
Yeah, I actually heard Matt Fraction talk about it on the podcast, and I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. I might want to check that out. So maybe foreshadowing for, a couple episodes down the way.
Yeah. I also think we should bring in Manos for some of these.
Oh, yeah, that'd be awesome.
I think that'd be a cool idea.
Yeah.
Well, everybody thinks
but he's probably seen all of them, so...
Oh, that's a good point. Manos has seen everything. Well, everybody, thanks a lot for listening to Air Discussions. Really hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you again next week. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Eric.